All right, so John Dillard is Yellow Flash's artist on Yellow Flash's upcoming, I guess, comic book. Yellow Flash has a comic book that's been in the works now for a little while. That would be of interest only vaguely, except that in January, John Dillard, who was Yellow Flash's artist, was on a live stream. And he kind of came out and he said, yeah, we got some problems going on here. I'm doing this comic book. I've been drawing this comic book for Yellow Flash for 6 months, and I have not received any pay for it yet because I arranged with him to be on some kind of a back-end deal. And the back-end deal meant that I wouldn't get paid until the book funded, and then I'd receive, 40% of the book. 40%, Yellow Flash said it's 40% ownership of the book, and it's going to be a big payday. But I think the problem was that Yellow Flash was supposed to launch it in October. John Dillard's house flooded. They were living in their backyard without electricity over Christmas. They didn't have a Christmas until some comic skaters made sure that the kids had presents and a tree. And it was a really ugly thing. Yellow Flash laughed about it. He wanted to make a t-shirt that said, pay your artist, hashtag pay your artist, because everybody was saying, why don't you pay your artist? The Yellow Flash said, no, we got him on a back-end deal. We don't do back-end deals around here. We think that's a really bad precedent to set. The book was supposed to launch in October. It's now almost May, and the book has not launched yet, and so what the hell? Now, has John Dillard received any money yet for his comic book? I don't know. We got a 5-minute video here where John Dillard is going to set the record straight. By the way, John Dillard not happy with me about pointing all this stuff out. I'm going to point this stuff out when I hear it. And I know it's inconvenient because I'm going to listen to him. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to listen to John Dillard. Here we go.
No, I think that Pete Callan is right on the money with that timeline. When he deleted that room, right? Everybody got mad at him. Ethan started going after Yellow Flash, and then he was
now
like,
hold on a second. Now hold on one fucking second here. Ethan didn't start going after Yellow Flash over that room. Yellow Flash was going after me. That was Yellow Flash coming after me. Yellow Flash deleted me. He blocked me. He revealed my page rate. We had a little subtle negotiation. He wanted me to do the cover to the comic book, and I gave him a friend price, which he thought was outrageous, and he told everybody what it was, which is not okay. It's just the same way it's not okay to pay people on the back end of a situation, these artists. It's also not okay to reveal page rates and negotiations and things like that. It wasn't me. I wasn't expecting this. Yellow Flash came out of the blue, and he started this. So when he deleted the room, I was like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? It wasn't me just going, wait, he deleted the room. Now I've got to do something. Yellow Flash deleted the room as a way of coming after me. Me.
Blocking everybody that was giving him shit. Right.
That was December. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Ethan's like, I'm doing trash cast. And then Ethan went off the deep end and started doing nothing but trash shows. And then everybody in CG is like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Telling the truth, Dillard. I know you don't see it now. I know you don't understand now, but I'm actually exposing a lot of scum. Not paying you for 6 months when you finally told everybody in January that you were having financial difficulties because you'd been working for Yellow Flash 6 months without pay. Me letting people know that and letting the general public know who these fucking assholes are is a general service. It's a helpful service to this community.
But yeah, there's a very real correlation between the new direction that Ethan went and everybody else being like, hey, this shit ain't right around here.
Can I ask a question of Dillard?
Why does it say this has nothing to do with EVS? Yes, it does.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Dillard, because I might have incorrect information. But I heard that Yellow Flash was going to do a crowdfunding, then he canceled it, and that's where the whole argument over the 40% arose from. Because he was supposed to do that crowdfunding, you would have gotten your 40% right away, but then when he canceled it, now you have to wait.
Well, that I don't know about. I don't know if that's true. I've never said such a thing. I said that October was when the book was supposed to go up for sale. I don't know if it was going to be a crowdfund or what. But just to correct Frog Tony there, that was never one of my assertions because I don't know that to be fact.
The new pre-order campaign.
See, what happened was we were in a back room and we were talking about the release date of the book. It was going to be short. And we were like, no, I want to make this longer because there was going to be a fight scene at the end of it that we were going to cut out and put in book 2. And I was like, no, this needs to be in book 1 so we can have a big culmination. So we made the book longer. We made the book because I made that little trailer, coming out in October, and everybody was real excited. But they're like, oh well, I guess the book's not happening now. I was like, no, we just made the book longer, so we pushed the date back. And then I had that stuff happen with my house, so I had to take paid work from more paid work from other people. Because what happened was I was doing about 60% paid work, and I was spending some free time doing the Yellow Flash book. But then I needed to do 100% paid work, so I had to put that project with Yellow Flash I'm doing on hold while I did nothing but paid work. So it pushed the date back even further.
Well, it'd be good if Yellow Flash actually paid you for the work that you were doing on the comic, which is something that he could have done if it weren't for the fact that he's trying not to crowdfund this thing. Understand that when Yellow Flash decided not to crowdfund because he wanted to have the book finished, like Eric July does, to have it to present to buyers, he was doing that like a fucking ollie right off of your fucking face. Like, that was him going, you know what? I'm going to do this to look good. And you know who's going to pay the price? John Dillard is going to pay the price for that. John Dillard's family is going to suffer so that I can look cool and like somebody who's not going to crowdfund. All this other stuff, you saying, the book got delayed because I wanted to make it longer. My advice to you is to take a Yellow Flash book and make it shorter. Make it shorter. I would make it 10 pages. It doesn't really matter. Nobody's going to read it, John. They don't read. The people who order these books don't expect them to be anything except for Culture War trophies. Nobody is going to try. Who would try to read something that Yellow Flash wrote? Who? Nobody. Nobody is that stupid. Nobody is going to read his comic book. You might as well not even really draw it. You might as well just put half-hearted effort into it because, like, nobody's going to read it. Look at Eric July. Nobody read his comic. Those pages could have been blank. Nobody would have known that they were blank until Dick Masterson showed up because nobody opened the books.
Dude, to be honest, Yellow Flash should thank his fucking lucky stars you're on that project, because I would never back it if it was somebody else, most likely.
Chris, who gives a shit? Chris is like, Yellow Flash should thank his lucky stars because if my friend John Dillard wasn't drawing it, I wouldn't back it. Oh, thank you. I'm going to get a sale off of Chris Stanley. This fucking loop-de-loo.
I don't really think that Dillard, are you getting 40% of the project, 40% of just the first book, 40% of the IP? Because I think that's also a point.
That was very unclear. You're right about that, Frog Tony. That's a good question.
Contention. Obviously, if you can't say anything that's understandable.
I mean, I can say whatever. I mean, I'm 40% owner of everything.
Wait a second. Clarify that. What do you mean you're 40% ownership of everything? What is everything? You own the IP?
You're gonna make a lot of money. That's the funniest.
I mean, I hope so.
Part about
well,
all
I mean,
this shit. At the end of the day,
and all that stuff that happened with Ethan, like that's old news. That happened and it's over now. Like he said himself, whatever Dillard does, that he made his bid. That's my business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have a problem with you, Dillard, at all. Like, not at all. Like, I regret having to do this because I know it makes things hard for you. You are not somebody who I'm interested in discussing. It is Yellow Flash who I'm interested in discussing. Yellow Flash putting you in this skeevy predicament is what I'm interested in talking about. Because I don't want it to happen again. Just the same way at the beginning of this stream, I said, look, if anybody goes back to the Comics for Kids thing, I've been consistent on that whole thing since the very start. Because early on, Doug TenNapel and Mike S. Miller were skeeve balls who were doing, buy my comics for the military. I will send my comic. If you buy my comic for me, I'm going to send it overseas to the troops. Are you kidding me? You're going to send your shitty comic books to people who have weapons at easy access? How about not do that? They don't need your shitty comic books. They might need a little money. They might need a few crates of tasty cakes and candy and things like that. They don't want your fucking Dirtworm Jim comic. They don't want your Lone Star Ho comic. They don't need that. That's just a way to kind of fatten your own pockets. And I called them war profiteers. I called them war profiteers, and they were so angry. Same thing. Same situation. So now you're exploiting sick children. If you are selling your comic book in order to donate copies to some charity for sick kids in the hospital, you don't care about the sick kids in the hospital. You found a convenient way to prey on people's sympathies, just the same way Doug TenNapel and Mike S. Miller were preying on people's patriotism in order to sell more copies of your book. And maybe don't do that. So that's a concern. If I see that happen, I will call it out here on Trashcast. Yellow Flash and his 40% on the back end, no fair page rate in advance. Because, I mean, the situation is, you can say you're getting 40%, but, you're going to be getting $250 a page in advance against that royalty. Whatever it is, let your artist be able to feed his family while he's working on your comic book. When he turns in a page, he gets $250 is fucking cheap. He gets a little bit of money. And then you add it all up. You go, okay, the book was 100 pages. So you got paid $25,000 or whatever it is. And we're going to subtract that from the total 40%, blah, blah, blah. You know, what you got. That's a fair and just deal. And it has nothing to do with Dillard. Like I don't want to bad mouth Dillard at all. But what I do want to do is point out that was a corrupt, shady deal that was used a lot, especially in the 1990s, early 2000s in indie comics. Just get artists to draw things and then promise them profits on the back end. And those profits don't materialize. And by the way, there's no guarantee how well Yellow Flash's book is going to do. What exactly is 40% of what number? You think Yellow Flash has devoted army of backers that Eric July has? I don't think he does. I don't think he does at all. You know, Eric July could sit there and kind of spin this idea that he's going to save comics. He's going to change comics. We will win. Yellow Flash doesn't have any of that. He doesn't have any of that piss and vinegar. He doesn't have people who think he's going to save comics. He's probably got a few people who will, back his comic because they like him personally. They're fans. So what? 40% of what? You got to put some skin in the game, Flash, because John Dillard is putting everything in the game. It's not right.
Well, I'm not backing Flash. I'm backing Dillard. That's the way I look at it. Everybody can justify it.
Well, I mean, you guys can say I'm backing Dillard. Dillard has comic books of his own. Why don't you back those? Where he gets 100%, not 40%. Dillard still has his comics. He's got something called The Buckler out there. Go back that.
You're 40% backing Dillard. You're 60% backing Flash.
Doesn't matter. I don't care about that.
Did Dillard pay Flash? That's what I heard. I heard Dillard's got to pay Flash at 40%.
Frog Tony.
Dude,
Caleb says everybody wants to be in my business. I got the best business.
I don't want to be in anyone's business. I figured, when was it going to have an opportunity to ask Dillard? I'm not really on stream with him.
There you go. Beautiful. Well done. I don't know what that proved at all.